If you're watching this video, you most likely hold a lot of altcoins, and we've seen a lot of volatility in this altcoin space as of recent. And I'm here to tell you that there's some good news and bad news coming for altcoin season in these next couple of weeks. So let's jump right in. Let's first take a look at the good news. Now, the good news is that history tells us 2025 will be huge for crypto. If we take a look at post-Christmas performance across the years, you can see that the crypto market absolutely booms after the Christmas season, right? We see this in 2012 to 2013, 2016 to 2017, 2020 to 2021, and this year we most likely will see this again, 2024 to 2025. Now, of course, because of diminishing returns, I don't expect this year to be as amazing, as big of a pump as these past couple of years that we've seen, but we're still expected historically to get another pump post-Christmas going into 2025, and most likely this will last us the entirety of 2025 and probably end somewhere around the beginning of 2026. That's when you're going to see the bear market. This has been the historical trend for crypto, for Bitcoin. And speaking of historical trends, let's take a look at the next trend, which is the 4-year cycle, right? So this is the 4-year Bitcoin cycle that most of you are familiar with now. And basically this means that Bitcoin has these 4-year cycles after the halving. During this 4-year cycle, Bitcoin has a 900-day span where it is in an uptrend. And this has held up these past 2 previous cycles. And this cycle, I think it will hold up as well. Right now, it is holding up. And most people, right, the general consensus, the general public consensus is that we're going to see around 100, 200, maybe 300 more days of Bitcoin uptrend. Now, the third and final historical chart to look at is going to be the Bitcoin dominance charts. And Bitcoin dominance, I've talked about a lot on this channel. This is the most important chart that you should study. You should understand why this happens. But basically, whenever Bitcoin dominance goes up, that means that Bitcoin holds the most strength, the most market cap in the crypto market. And whenever you see this drop off in Bitcoin dominance, as you've seen these past 2 previous cycles, that is when altcoin season starts. So this period of drop off, that is precisely altcoin season. Now, right now, as you guys can see, we've made what seems to be a top, right? We've made a top, and it seems like right now we are going to get this massive drop off in Bitcoin dominance, or at the very least, this is what everyone is waiting for. Based on these past 2 trends, right, there's no reason to think this same thing won't happen again. Right? History doesn't always repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And with history rhyming, we could definitely see Bitcoin dominance drop all the way down to this mid 40% range, even this high 40% range, maybe even the low 50% range, right? Anywhere in that range, that's still a massive drop off from today's Bitcoin dominance percentage of around 58%. And if that happens, we can expect a massive altcoin season, right? Even if Bitcoin dominance maybe doesn't drop back down to, 40%, maybe it drops back down to 50%. That's still a massive drop off in Bitcoin dominance. We're still going to see your altcoins do amazing if that scenario plays out. So these are the historical trends, and so far they've all held up very, very well. Now, let's look at what I think is more important, and this is the trends that we're seeing today, right? So these are kind of the short-term chart patterns that we're seeing. And the charts are looking promising, right? We're seeing a promising rebound in a lot of these charts in Bitcoin, in Ethereum, and also in your others.d, which measures your altcoins. So we're seeing a rebound from those lows, from that massive fear right before Christmas. Bitcoin dominance is showing signs of continuing downwards, which is good for your altcoins, as you know. However, this trend is not yet confirmed, right? So we need to wait for a clear trend breakout, either to the upside or the downside, preferably the downside, right? I would love to see Bitcoin dominance go down from these levels. I think we've had enough pain, right? A lot of people have had enough pain. And that's another thing I'm going to touch on later in this video, is how much pain altcoin investors have experienced and how much pain we still need to experience, because crypto is driven by fear and greed. Crypto is driven by pain and I guess comfort, right? Crypto is extremely volatile, and it's driven by these intrinsic human emotions. I'll touch on that psychology later in this video, but right now, looking at this Bitcoin dominance chart, right? doing some analysis, this 55 EMA and this 200 EMA, so this is the purple line and the yellow line, these are very important. In order for us to, what I consider, break this uptrend in Bitcoin dominance and break to the downside and kind of confirm that downside price movement, I think we need to break this 200 EMA, right? This 200 exponential moving average. What was really good to see these past couple of days was we got this long wick to the top, right? You see this long red wick. This is a rejection, right? This is a rejection of momentum to the upside, which means that very quickly we got this red candle, right? This was really good to see. I expected some more red candles, right? I expected some more red candles to the downside and potentially a break below this 200 EMA yellow line. But instead, Bitcoin decided to kind of rally a little bit, and we got a rally in Bitcoin dominance. Right now, we got this red candle. So we're starting to cool off a little bit. This could be a fake out of Bitcoin, but I still think we are in a good position for us to go lower. I think this is kind of a fake out. Only time will tell. Right now, the MACD is curling downwards, right? So it's kind of making this pattern, and this is really good to see because that means it's going to turn red very, very soon. And when the MACD goes red, that means there's a lot of pressure to the downside. So it's good to see that we have multiple indicators indicating that Bitcoin dominance has a lot of downward pressure right now. The next chart to look at is Ethereum. Ethereum is the most important factor in order for Bitcoin dominance to go down, right? Ethereum is the largest altcoin by far. It holds the largest market cap. So the Ethereum chart is something to look at. And right now, I think there's still a possibility that we touch this 200 EMA, right? If this happens, expect a lot of your altcoins to drop another 20, 30%, which is really unfortunate, but I think this could be the case, right? You see this local low right here that we had back a few months ago, and this is a perfect head and shoulders pattern, right? We could definitely make another low here, kind of consolidate here a little bit, and then around mid-January, that's when we shoot up again. I think that's a possibility. I think that's a really real possibility. I don't want that to happen, right? I would love Ethereum to just consolidate and shoot up right from here, right? I don't want to go back down to those lows, but I'm just outlining the possibilities to you guys. So this 200 EMA yellow line is a possible place. And guys, in order for altcoin season to fully start, to fully kick in order for you to see those massive gains on all of your altcoins, Ethereum needs to hit its all-time high. Its all-time high, I believe, was around 4,800. So in order for us to have this massive, massive altcoin season that we're all hoping for, we need to see Ethereum start making moves to the upside and cross this 4,800 mark and make a brand new 2025 all-time high. A lot of altcoin season hinges on the success of Ethereum. So even if you don't hold Ethereum, you should still be rooting for Ethereum to go up. And the MACD is looking pretty promising, right? We're seeing this MACD start to curl up a little bit, and it looks like it could be heading to the green very soon in early 2025. So this lines up with my prediction. Hopefully this happens, right? I'm hoping for a massive year for Ethereum in 2025. Now, the last chart I want to look at is the others.d, right? This measures the market cap of all of your cryptos outside of the top 10. So more of your mid caps to small cap cryptos. And right now it seems to be bouncing off of high time frame support, looking for a reversal, right? So we're seeing this this chart. Of course, this is when we had those massive November pumps, but then this downtrend brought us all the way down here. We had a massive wick to the downside, followed by a massive green candle, which means we rejected this area. So we rejected this area right here, bounced back up, and we also bounced off of high time frame support right here and right here on the 200 EMA, right? So that's really good to see. It's really good to see that we're bouncing off of these levels. And right now we are coiling up, we're consolidating. So I would love to see a break of this trend into the upside from these levels. So those were the positive things. Those were the things to look forward to. Now let's take a look at some of the things that might bring the price of Bitcoin and some of your altcoins even further down. And the first thing is liquidation pressure, right? So there is a potential for Bitcoin to hit this 88K to 92K area. I believe this is very, very high likelihood because there's still lots of liquidation pressure to the downside. Now, as you guys know, money flows into the places with higher liquidity. And although there is high liquidity here at 100K and also even at 110K, we have this massive area spanning from 88K to about 92K. I believe this needs to get liquidated in order for us to go higher up into this 100K, 110K range for us to make another leg up, right? I believe we need to go down and liquidate a lot of these long positions. If we take a look at the liquidation map, you can see we have this area right here, basically 88K to about 92K, right? That needs to be liquidated. If we take a look at the Bitcoin exchange liquidation map, you can see the two sides are relatively even. We actually have a little bit more pressure to the upside rather than to the downside, but this area is still pretty concerning to me. I believe we're definitely going to probably liquidate this 93K area and potentially even further down to this 91, 92, and potentially to the 88K, right? So I believe all of this is possible. Am I saying this is going to happen 100%? No, right? But I'm just saying that it's a possibility and you should be prepared for these scenarios, right? As a competent investor in crypto, you should be prepared for every single possible scenario, right? In my mind right now, there's 3 scenarios. The first scenario is that at the beginning of 2025, Bitcoin once again pumps and makes new all-time highs around the time of the inauguration. So around late January, that's when Bitcoin makes a new all-time high. That is the first scenario. I think that's probably around a 50% likelihood, right? I still think that's definitely in the books. Now, the other scenario is that we liquidate this 88K, right? We go down to 88K. A lot of your altcoins bleed, right? A lot of people start, thinking the sky is falling. And we see that for the short term, right? Maybe early January is a little bit bloody. Early January is a little bit red. But then we still see another pump, right? And Bitcoin by early February, maybe mid-February, it's already back to 110, 120K, right? That's the other possibility. Now there's a third possibility, right? I don't want this to happen, but Bitcoin going back to around that 78K range. Now, why do I say 78K? If you take a look at the chart, there's actually a gap that wasn't filled at that 78K range. And I believe a lot of gaps need to be filled in order for Bitcoin to go higher. I think there's going to be enough sell pressure for that to happen. Probably not, right? I think people are going to start buying up Bitcoin way before it drops back down to 78K, right? At that price, it's a no-brainer. But that's still a possibility. That's probably around a 10%, maybe 5% possibility. So those are the 3 scenarios. You need to be prepared for all of them. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, and this is also going to be something that makes me a little bit worried right now, right? That's why I'm not completely spending all of my fiat currency and, full sending all of these altcoins right now. It's because the fear and greed index is still pretty high. We're still in the greed, right? We're at 74 on this fear and greed index. Yesterday was extreme greed at 79. Last week was 74. Last month was 75, right? We still haven't crossed below 50 yet, right? This is still, according to this index, this is still not the time to buy. Although a lot of your altcoins are at massive, massive discounts, we're still seeing a lot of greed in the markets. And in order for you to make the most amount of money, for you to get into the best positions, you need to wait for this indicator to go back below 50%. The fear and greed index measures a part of retail behavior and retail sentiment. And when people start saying, oh, altcoin season will never happen, this is a Bitcoin only cycle, that means the market is setting a stage for a reversal. And you're starting to see a little bit of that, but there's still a lot of greed in the market, right? You need to wait until the overwhelming majority of people are saying the sky is falling. And that would be the perfect time to buy. Now is the time to go into your portfolio and look at what is performing well, what is not performing well, and readjust if you need to, right? Balance out your portfolio, de-risk if you need to, right? If you're over leveraged in meme coins, let's say you're 90%, 95% in meme coins, right? Maybe that's a little bit too much, right? You're seeing your meme coins start to show a lot of weakness, or maybe some of your meme coins are showing a lot of strength, some are showing some weakness. Now is the time to de-risk and reallocate your portfolio. As you can see, there's still plenty of opportunity in the market. We're seeing things like virtual do extremely well even in these market conditions, right? We're seeing things like hype do extremely well. There's a few coins I've called out in my Patreon community that have been doing well also. One is Morpho, right? This coin just never seems to drop, right? Whenever it gets a drop, it gets eaten up extremely fast. I called this out around this 120 range in my Patreon. There's also Ski Mask Dog that has been doing well. I called this out at around 3 cents. I think this still has plenty of room to run. And another coin I'm bullish on that I also called out in my community is Airbud. This one I called out around that's 0.007 range. So this has done like a 6 to 7x already, even after this massive drop, and it's actually been holding up relatively well, right? We had this massive pump, and even after this massive correction, it's still holding up very well. So if you want to join the community, the Patreon link is down in the description below. I still have this shark tier open, and with this tier you can get private Discord access as well as all of these other benefits like buy and sell alerts. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.